Having consoles from multiple generations can be kind of a pain. You end up with a mess of different controllers and not really a good solution other than putting them all in a drawer to store them away and grab them when you need them. But today I have a few different ideas on how to display these controllers as well as have quick, easy access to grabbing them. Let's take a look. So if there's something I find that people are really interested in, it's how to deal with big groups of things that you have in your collection. And one of the biggest things that people have in their collection, or a biggest group of, is game controllers. And the products that I have in today's video are actually purchasable, so you can find links in the description on how to get these. Click those links, purchase these things, and you're good to go. Now jumping right into the dual controller stand from OAprire, still never really sure how to say this name. I've seen a lot of people try to say this name before, but I have no idea how to say it. Now OAprire makes a lot of different products for displaying things in your game collection, and they're not all great. I've actually tried one of their controller stands in the past that was a few different pieces, kind of in a rose-colored gaming style, and that thing broke right away. But in this scenario, the way that they have designed this to be one whole piece and connect to one single point, this thing works fantastic. Now this doesn't hold a ton of controllers, but you could get multiples of this and line them up on a shelf and have just the ultimate game controller display shelf. These also come in 3 different colors. Now the actual tower part of this is always going to be clear acrylic, but the base is where you can add a little bit of style to this. You can choose from black, white, or clear acrylic. So the first thing I have to say about this is it's extremely sturdy. It's very thick acrylic, and it only has a couple connection points when this shows up. It shows up in 2 different pieces, and you just pop them together. They do include a couple adhesive strips, so you could kind of stick them together, but you'd see the adhesive strips, so it's kind of, you know, pointless in my opinion, and they stick together just enough to look good. You're not going to be moving this thing all over the place as it's a display. But moreover, I really like the display as a whole. I love the fact that I can just take one of my PS5 controllers, one of my Switch controllers, and just pop it in here and take it out really easily. It's got the perfect angle on this design, so it's just really easy to put those controllers in and take them back out. And of course, for the most part, these are going to be for wireless controllers, though I have seen other people take their controllers and wrap their cords in such a way that they can put them into these wireless displays. But I thought this was a pretty good example on how to display a couple of your controllers in kind of a vertical format. I really like these tower stands for controllers because there's not that many other ways to display them when you have that many. You got to use that vertical space. Now moving on to today's most megalithic display, in my opinion, the one that can hold the most amount of controllers, the most styles of controllers, both wired and wireless, as well as having things that you can do to it in order to charge those controllers. That's the Fang Control Tower. Now I first talked about the Fang Control Tower back in 2018 when it was initially releasing, and I absolutely fell in love with it. This is what I use in my collection when it comes to specifically displaying and organizing my wired controllers. And don't get me wrong, it's great for wireless controllers too, and I even have a couple of those on there as well. But this just is the all-encompassing solution for those wired controllers, getting those wires out of the way and making them look great on this stand. And these stands have multiple options. They're sold on Etsy, and they have just so many different configurations that you can grab. It's crazy. These go from 8 to 16 different controllers. Now, if you want a detailed review on this, I will leave a link in the description as well as a card on my original video, so you can go and check that out and see all the little details. But essentially, this thing rotates around. You can display your controllers on it. It has holes in it, so you could run wires through it and charge your controllers if you wanted to. Fang actually has a kit which you can purchase to charge your controllers if that's what you wanted to do. And then the multiple configurations. This can come in a very short configuration with just 8 controllers, or a smaller amount of controllers than that. And it can go all the way up to 16 controllers. And if you add another attachment to the top, which holds the Wii and the nunchuck controllers, it can be this just mega display. And this isn't just some 3D printed thing that kind of falls apart. It's not poorly 3D printed or anything like that. This is actually manufactured and designed by an engineer and made because they wanted to display their controllers in their game collection, which is a lot of the reasons that displays come in the first place. Now, the different configurations and sizes range from $60 to $120. So keep that in mind, but understand that even that $120 isn't that crazy with all the different things you get. If you added up all the stands you would get from some other company and did it individually, it might be much more expensive than that. So really there's nothing like this one. It's just amazing, rotational, it's like a store display. It does so many different things correctly. I wish it came in different colors so that it could fit in with my collection a little bit better. And since I get so many different questions on displaying wired controllers as well as wireless controllers, feel free to share this video with other people that are out there that are looking for that same thing. This should have a lot of those ideas that people are looking for. This next display is for the people who want to display their controllers kind of in their own way, especially without taking up too much space. And that's these wall mount OAprire display stands. When you first look at these stands, they seem pretty simple. These are just wall mountable display stands with a nice angle to them, with a simple lip in the front, so you can put almost all of your controllers on here. I'm sure there's some wonky controller out there that's not gonna fit on these, but these things are gonna fit most things. The idea of these stands is that you can take a single one of these, they come with an adhesive patch that goes on the back there that you stick to the wall, and they can mount anywhere. So you can put them on your wall, you can put them on the sides of your shelves, you can put them in the back of your shelves and have the back of one of your Billy bookcases be completely covered in different controllers. Really, the sky's the limit here. But what I really like is the quality in these stands. So essentially you could take a bunch of these stands and just make a whole wall your display for all of your controllers. You have thousands of controllers, you could get thousands of these and make it a megalithic giant display. Now, I specifically use these in my office and in my game room, and these work fantastic for a couple controllers, maybe a headset. You could do all sorts of things. They're just a big hook that you can put stuff on that looks really nice. And of course, these work for wireless controllers, but they also work for wired controllers. You can wrap your cord in such a way that when you go, you can just pull off your wired controller off of this stand in one easy motion and have your stuff ready to rock so you can go play some games. Another thing that's really cool about these stands is that they do come in different colors. So you have white, black, and clear, as well as green, blue, and orange. But I think the main feature of these that's so important is that they adapt to most controllers. They are super sturdy with this thick acrylic that goes on your wall, and you can just adapt them to any situation that you have. However many controllers that you have, you can get more of these. For a 4-pack of these, I believe it was $14. That was on sale, and these things go on sale all the time, so just keep an eye on them. Now, this next display I had to get my hands on because it looked like it had a lot of ingenuity going on. And this comes in from Skull & Company. This display is called the Phantom Rack. And this thing's pretty cool because it's modular in design. You have to purchase all of the parts separately, which I do have a bone to pick with, which I'll talk about later. But what that gives you is the ability to display 6 different controllers at once. You could display 5 controllers and a headset. You could display 3 controllers, a headset, and a ring fit. But it's easy to see right off the bat that that's the big thing about this. It looks beautiful, it's clear, it's acrylic, it's got some beautiful features to it. It's gonna have those controllers in 2 different directions if you're putting multiple controllers on it, but it's modular. That modularity kind of is a problem because you do have to purchase these pieces separately. When you buy this, you will buy the tower alone, and that will come with the headphone mount for the top. It also has a few of the little clear plastic screws that are in there as well. Those seem sturdy enough. They're not gonna break anytime soon unless you're over tightening them or something like that. But outside of that main tower, you're gonna have to purchase the other display stands, and these display stands come in 3 different types. First, you have Universal, you have PS5, and then you have Xbox. That's what they named them. That's the 3 different choices you have there. I assume the PS5 and the Xbox are perfectly designed for those controllers, but I found that the Universal works with those just fine, so there's really no reason to go that direction. But when you buy these separate pieces, you are buying an individual small display stand as well. But when you buy those separate pieces to attach to the tower, those are a complete display stand. They do have a base and they do have a top. They just kind of slide out of each other, and then you can take the top and then screw it in with the included screws into your tower. So I guess in theory, if you buy the tower, you buy the 6 controller stands, you attach them to each other, and you still have all those little bases around somewhere, you'll have to store those someplace. But if someday you didn't want to do this tower, you wanted to put controllers kind of more in a horizontal format, you could take it all apart and put them on their bases and have them out on your shelf. Those little controller stands, from what I looked at, seem to do the job just fine. No problems, no issues. You're good to go. But outside of the modularity, which is really the reason that I purchased this, I do think this is quite beautiful. If you do have some lights in your room, it's gonna kind of reflect off of this acrylic and look really beautiful. This takes advantage of vertical space, just like the Fang stand that we looked at earlier. That vertical space is in a lot of people's game collections. I see a ton of game rooms all the time, and that space is there. If you had just a little bit of countertop space, you could use a vertical stand like this one. And how often do you come across a stand that holds your ring fit? But it's also good to know that you can use headset stands that are tall enough for your ring fit ring. I guess that thing's called a ring con. Now, the total cost for all these components put together was $80. And I think that they could reduce that price if they were to just sell the tops of those little stands so you could make your own tower. I feel like there's a few different bundles that they could do to just have a ready packaged bundle to sell to people so that it's a lot easier for them to get what they want right away, as opposed to kind of kicking around the website and trying to find these different pieces to put them all together. But as a whole, it's a beautiful stand. I love the modularity. I love that idea. I like that the little screws are even clear. They did a great job of making this one big congruent unit, so it's awesome. But if you do want to see more ways of displaying controllers in game collections or other display ideas in the future, that's what this channel is all about, is displaying stuff in game rooms, game spaces, game collections, just game stuff being displayed. I'll see you guys in the comments below. I hope you guys have a fantastic day today and collect what you love.